Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Bank Marketing Show. I'm Dan Navalis.
Hey, Dan. I'm Chris Bates. Good to be with you again today.
It's good. How are you doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Great. It's depending on when you're listening to this, we're in Banking Association conference season. I know you're off to many of them, and I'm off to several of them. And gosh, I'm presenting at 3 different conferences over the next several weeks, so it's travel time.
Yeah. I always feel like, they all come in April, May, but then there's always like a few left in June, and maybe there's a break, but then some of them start back up in August. It's like, it's always bank conference season.
That's right. Well, that's true. I've got a couple in October and September and October as well. So, but no, it's great to get out and about, and it's fun ways to not just promote, but talk about the show as well. And I know you and I have experienced being well into our 4th season with the show here, that it's really cool how it's grown, and running into people that are like, oh yeah, we listen to the show all the time. That's kind of rewarding, because our entire purpose is to be of resource and to pour into people in the industry. So it's great to get out there from time to time and get some of that feedback, know that we're being listened to. So
yeah.
And speaking of that, as you're listening today, if you haven't, please subscribe on whatever channel you're checking us out on. You can watch the episodes on YouTube as well. So please follow us on those. That helps build the following even more.
Yeah, well, and it's I think our reputation precedes us. So if you're a listener and you see us at a conference somewhere, please say hi.
There you go.
And today, so getting into our topic for today, I know, the last couple episodes you and I have done, Chris, we've focused on kind of bits and pieces from our Cadence webinar that we did a couple months ago. And one of the questions I know I'm getting a lot from that is just more on how to make your bank visible to AI.
Yes.
And it was a little piece of the webinar is about how to use AI, how to use it today. But one piece we touched on was, hey, go search your bank on AI. So we wanted to do a full episode today on, can AI find your bank, right? Are you visible to it? What do potential customers see when they search AI? And I think it's, so many banks that I work with are still thinking in terms of like search results, but Google is fast replacing the ranked list with an AI blurb, and that's what consumers are starting to use more, and people are starting to use the Claudes and ChatGPTs of the world for doing research on this stuff. So it's important that you know how your bank shows up, right? You kind of know how your bank ranks probably. But it's a much different ballgame in how it shows up in AI results. So we're going to get into that today.
Yeah. And some of what we're going to get into today is help you with a bit of understanding as to why. If you're not showing up or not showing up well around key, and I want to call them conversations these days rather than just a search query, because I think that's what, that's where we are. Is that everybody, and this isn't, the adage of, oh, just younger audiences are doing it this way or whatever. This is everyone that uses the internet is I think, transforming more into conversational queries rather than keyword. It's not bank near me anymore. It's a question around what you need from a bank and who's the best one to use around here type of thing.
Right.
And we'll go into that more during the episode today. But yeah, so and why are you not showing up? And then obviously we're going to talk a little further today, and it'll be scratching the surface, but help you understand what you can do about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And just the nature of it, it's not, right, to your point, it's not people typing bank near me into an LLM. It's just so natural to put in what you're looking for, the specifics of what you're looking for there. Mm-hmm. So there's both some new challenges with appearing in AI, but a lot of new opportunities, to get in front of people that are asking about bank with good customer service and, overcoming problems that they have at their current bank and stuff like that. So this is all already happening. It's something you should be aware of how your bank appears now, right?
Yes.
We could talk for hours about what to do about it. And we'll touch on some of that today, but it's really just be aware of how it appears. And, and we're going to get into like kind of what that looks like and how to assess it.
Well, and you just touch base on it, Dan. You touched on it. This is not a future tense problem. This is not some futuristic discussion of AI. This is the way that people are behaving online and engaging now. Yeah. And so if it's not something that you have paid enough attention to, this is your bell. This is your this is your alarm going off that, hey, you need to begin to pay attention to this now and look at, what are the issues around it, the causes of it, and what you can do about it. Whether that's with your internal team or you're working with an agency like us that can do things for you on an outsourced basis, whoever's doing it, it's time to get it done. And that's a very real thing to transfer. And the great news to me, Dan, is this is not monumental shifts in who and what your brand is and all of that. It's, again, we're going to go into solutions a bit here in a bit, but these are the solutions for this are things that are within your reach. That's what I'm encouraged by under this category of, is your bank being found, in AI discussions and queries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so the first thing I think everybody should be doing is actually searching for your bank on AI, right? Uh-huh. So I'd like to encourage everybody, if you're, as long as you're not driving, pause the show and go search in Google, look at the AI results, go to ChatGPT or Claude, search for your bank, right? Yep. Do a couple different kinds of queries. Say, find me a good bank, find me a bank with good customer service. What's the best checking account? Mm-hmm. Think like a customer. Think like the type of customer that you want to reach, and ask AI some questions.
Yeah. And to your point, Dan, do several different prompts. Don't just try one and go, oh, okay, that's where we're showing up in AI. That's not it at all. Yeah. So try something that is general bank level a query, and then go into something like, what's the best local mortgage lender in Madison County for me, something more specific. Yeah,
think customer problems, like we always try to say too, of like, I am a first-time home buyer and I have a low down payment and I need a lender that will work with me, that type of stuff. Yeah. Right, for your ideal customer target, and type those kinds of problems in and see what it does, because it will solve that.
Yeah.
And the other layer is, like, if you're a bank with multiple locations, especially if you probably have different competitors, different other banks in those locations. Maybe you have a location or two in a bigger city, and some really rural locations. Pretend you're customers in those different locations, because the results will be different. You're sitting up next to a Fifth Third or a Regions Bank or some bigger entity in one of your cities. Like, their information is probably going to dominate the AI results, because there's a lot more of it out there. But in your rural locations, maybe you're first, or maybe there's a couple bad reviews that you've got on Google that take a much bigger portion of the spotlight and the answers than you'd think.
Yeah.
So try a lot of different angles. This should be a little exercise, not just a go type bank near me. Spend some time with it and try different chats, try different angles of, based on how your bank is structured.
Yeah. So what we don't have right now, Dan, is our little magic, hit the game show, pause music while you pause the show and go do this. So like you said, unless you're driving down the road, take a moment and go actually look, or after you listen today, do different queries. And if you're, try a ChatGPT and try a Claude and try a Google and try, several of those. Again, this is not just a one-shot thing that's going to give you a sense of where you are. So have conversations across several different platforms and all of that, and see where you are. And it's a different world now than just a keyword ranking, right, Dan? It's not that. Now, I'll qualify it. the multitude of things that we have historically done in SEO work are still crucial and foundational. And we'll actually explore this a little bit more later. Some of those key things are still extremely important. Your Google business profiles, a whole lot on your website, other things that we'll discuss here in a bit, even citations, some of those kinds of things. But this is different because the queries are different. The platforms are different. You're answering questions here. You're not ranking for a specific keyword, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of brings us to our second point, right? Of why you were invisible, or why you might not be as visible as you think. And when you use an AI tool, you could, if you search for, hey, if you asked it, give me information about First Bank in Tuscaloosa.
Yep.
Right. It's going to go out and like a search engine and search First Bank Tuscaloosa, and it's going to read the information that comes back, and it's going to synthesize it, summarize it, spit it back to you. Right. So that's the sort of the lane that's most similar to traditional search. But the really interesting stuff happens when you are searching for stuff like customer problem, like the first time home buyer example I just said.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't put in a bank name, because then what the AI does is it goes out and looks for sort of banks in Tuscaloosa that have first-time homebuyer information.
Yep.
And well-structured, information, answers to questions, and then it will synthesize that stuff. So if you don't have the specificity of information on your site or Google business profile, it's just not going to find it for those customer problem things. Yep. Right. So and this just is like, it's such a problem for so many community banks, right? Our whole, businesses have been based on this, Chris. Like,
that's right.
Generic messaging and the lack of specificity, and so many banks want to be everything to everybody. And you have we have financial solutions for any need.
Mm-hmm.
That AI really hates that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, and
it's very non-responsive to it.
Yeah. And it's not useful for consumers either.
Yeah.
But it's not, how is it going to pick up on if you search for find me a great first-time homebuyer bank in my town, and your website just says we have financial solutions for everybody, it's not going to, it's not looking for that. It's looking for first-time homebuyer information.
Yeah. Yeah. You had a great example as we were getting started today of kind of the quote unquote, your trusted financial partner. Okay. Well, we don't talk that way. That's not why people are not putting queries in that say, help me find my best local trusted financial partner. That's not, they're not doing that.
You probably rank pretty well for that. You probably show up pretty well if somebody typed that in.
But
nobody's
people aren't putting that in. They're, who's got the best student checking account for my teenager?
Yeah.
Or your mortgage example for a first-time home buyer, those kind of things. People are looking for solutions or resources for specific issues or challenges or, again, solutions. And that generic messaging, under this category we're talking about now is that genericness keeps you generic with everyone else and is not, the AIs are not going to be responsive to a solution around a specific issue or problem. And I know one of the key ones, so we were just talking about the generic messaging, but one of the key ones too, Dan, is about really thin content. It's so common for community banks to have, a bullet point list of 6 features for a checking account on their website. And that's what you've got. And that's incredibly thin content. It has no customer story, it has no educational value. Yep. It has no human conversation element to it. It's all very thin.
What AI loves, right, is when you just directly answer the questions you want to show up for, right? And so that checking account table is a good one. Every bank website pretty much has a table comparing the checking account features, and that's fine. You should probably have that table because you need to get into the terms and conditions and the fees, and you need to get to that level. But AI is not going to pick up on that table natively, and it's not going. And even if it did, it's not going to summarize it in the way that you would to a customer. So you need that content above the table on the page that says choose the traditional checking account if A, B, and C. If you are low balance, if you tend to have a balance under $5,000, whatever, some prose that answers those questions. Because then people asking AI, like, find me a good checking account for this type of balance and this type of, level of ACH or whatever it is, it's going to go match that, look for results that match that content.
Yeah.
So it's not, you don't need 70 written pages on your checking accounts, but we're in the midst of building a website for one of our joint clients. And what we did was we put boxes on the checking account page that's like, here's our 5 different types of checking accounts, and here's 2 or 3 sentences about what who each one is good for.
Who's it good
Not
for?
describing the account, but who it's good for.
Yeah.
And then you get into the table. Then you can talk about all those details. But you're providing the answer, and that helps both the human and the AI.
Yeah. Well, it's back to the premise we've talked about repeatedly on so many episodes of the show, Dan, is that, every bank has accounts, has deposit accounts and loans, and maybe some of you are a commercial bank or you're those things, but still you when you look at your competition, everybody sells money, everybody sells accounts that hold money or loan money or do what so that everything can be so generic. So to use your line of thinking there, Dan, it's those boxes of content. If they speak to, I'm a farmer in rural Pennsylvania, and what's the best checking account for me? And if there is a local bank that has spoken into that, and has ag-related content on their website, and that's your key target audience, and you speak into that and offer solutions for that, then you're going to knock it out of the park in searches locally.
Right.
It's again, this is not rocket science. We're not asking you to recreate who you are as a bank. We're asking you to be better at what your superpowers already are.
Yeah. And speak normal. Speak like a human talking to another human, which is just general sage advice.
Yeah.
AI or not. Because right now that's what the AI picks up on is clear, structured answers, to stuff. We're adding a lot of FAQ sections to websites right now, like FAQ page or 3 or 4 questions at the bottom of checking account pages and, investment information type of pages that answer those questions that people are asking. One of my favorite activities right now too is a kind of sort of meta AI usage, and just go ask, AI to come up with questions that people are actually asking. And some of it, the AI engines are not like publishing search volume like Google does. So sometimes you get an answer that's kind of made up, but it will give you some ideas of like what is a real question that people might ask you, Claude, that I should put on my FAQ site. And it will kind of, give you some ideas. Maybe you don't use exactly what it says, but it'll kind of give you some ideas for how to do that. So it gets specific.
And like we've talked to a couple of our recent guests about, Dan, also is go ask your frontline staff. Talk to your CSRs. Peter Ort talked about it. It's a culture thing, is go engage with your frontline staff and say, what questions are you getting all the time? Well, we're getting questions all the time about, from aging people that are petrified of fraud. Okay. Well, great. Let's put some, to your point, Dan, let's put some answers to real questions.
Make a fraud page.
Yes. Yeah. Make a fraud page, or make a fraud prevention tips, FAQ. All types of things. I mean, now I know we're into a kind of rolling here into talking about what you can do about it, Dan.
Right.
But that's a great example, of ask the AIs what human questions people are asking, and ask your team. Oh gosh, we're getting asked all the time for so-and-so, or people don't understand what happens when the Fed changes rates, and doesn't that mean my loan rate changes? Well, no, it doesn't. Well, okay,
right.
Explain that in human terms. Don't do bank speak. Don't
Yeah.
use banker terminology. Don't use, those of us in the industry, don't use the terminology we use standing there talking to each other at conferences about your products and your service. Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, right. I think there's a couple parts to this. Like what do you do about it? Piece, right? And so we talked about pausing the podcast and actually searching, for your bank, searching like a customer, searching for problems. That's going to tell you that's the biggest part, right? You're going to see a lot of stuff when you do that exercise, and spend a half hour with it. Right, go at different angles, and you're going to see where it does mention your bank and where it mentions a competitor when you'd rather it mentions you. And you're going to see what problems and topics you do show up for and what you don't. And you can start to kind of make a map of, oh, well, we don't show up. We show up pretty well in this query. We show up pretty well in our rural community, or for these customer problems. But for this other set of customer problems, we'd love to grow that segment of our business, and we don't show up.
Yeah.
And you'll start to see those gaps. And all we're saying here with the specificity is like, put content about those gaps on your site.
There you go.
And this is not like old school, like build, 1,000-word blogs and put little, light gray on white background keyword sections at the bottom of it's not that.
Right. It's not that.
But, AI it will reward the specific, well-structured answers. If you want to show up for first-time homebuyer, FAQ question, it's why are we a good bank for first-time homebuyers? What do first-time homebuyers need to know? And just write a 2 or 3 sentence sort of answer and get it on there.
One of the other things under solutions and what you can do about it, again, that's very much within reach, Dan, is getting specific about who you serve and where. In other words, if you serve a 9-county area, name them, talk about those areas, have content, on your website that talks about how well you serve Madison, Rankin, and Hinds counties, and those types of things. So your geographies, and be specific about city and county terms and those types of things. And then also, with my example with farmers a little while ago, is being specific about who your customers are. Yeah. What are their professions? Not we offer accounts to small businesses. That's incredibly generic.
Yeah. Well, like, and I was working on a bank on some website updates recently, and they said, well, yeah, we do ag loans, but that's just it's just one type of loan. So just, we don't really need to call it out. It's not a huge part of our business. I'm like, well, but if it's any part of your business, make a page that says ag loans, and you don't have to be an ag bank. Right. But you do these things, or, so put up a page with a little bit of information about, hey, here's how we do operating lines and that type of stuff. And you'll peel off a few people from bigger banks or the, farm credit type of institutions. And it doesn't really hurt. Get specific about that stuff. A lot of banks like to think in the generalities of like, we serve, Southern Mississippi, but if you actually add those county names, it will show up better in search.
Yeah. And the topical things. A few episodes ago, Dan, I was talking to you about one of our bank clients that's a 5-branch, $400 million asset bank. And in conversation with the CEO, one of the things that he mentioned more than once was how much they're doing in recreational property loans. And because they're in a specific area that it's high in demand, right?
Yeah.
And they are the local provider, if you will. And, so I was like, well, let's pull that out and tell some stories about that, and ideally have some testimonials, from folks, and let's tell that story more, so that when people from out of state are searching who's a local lender for buying recreational property, you're the go-to.
Yeah.
And let's make you that. That doesn't mean that you're not going to still offer all things to many other people. But it does mean that is a strength of yours that needs to be accentuated, right, Dan? It's not a black and white thing that if you niche about this, that doesn't mean that's all you do anymore.
Right. Right. If you don't have that page or that content, the people looking for recreational properties are not going to find you.
Yeah.
But, if you put that page up, it's not like people looking for regular home loans are going to suddenly not find you because you have a recreational page up. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You're just getting more specific, and it's your job as the sort of marketer to know who you're trying to reach and to pull that information out. And because your loan team may not come to you and say, we need to do a marketing campaign to reach recreational land buyers. But if you're talking to the front line, you're talking to your loan officers, you're going to understand that that's, the bank is trying to reach those people and, build the content around it. And then similarly on the counties, some banks are like, well, we really operate, we're strongest in these 3 cities or these 3 counties, but we don't want to turn anybody away from other places. Well, of course not. You're not a credit union that's limited, but if you put those counties on there, that's your primary business area. You're not turning people away, but you're going to capture a lot more of the people in those counties where you already are. It's a balance, but get specific is the bottom line. Yeah, well, so, I know we've kind of gone through a few different things, like pause, read, search AI for your bank, search AI for customer problems, number 1. Number 2, map out real questions that you can answer on your site. Like, where are those gaps in the audit? And, who do you want to be reaching that you are not through AI results, and make some content around that and get specific. Number 3 is get specific with that content. County levels, specific problems, specific types of loans, build it out, right? That's the project for all of you, basically.
Yep. Again, that's very doable. As we've said, this is not some major marketing lift. These are things that you can do a little bit every week and over a bit of time, make a real impact.
Yeah.
This is very doable, either by your team or working with your partners to do that. And and Dan, as you summarize all of that, I think it's important for us to mention too that this is one of our putting our professional agency hats on. This is one of the things that you and I are doing a good bit of project work in partnering on some of these projects. So if any of you as listeners if you want to see what it looks like to actually do a deeper dive audit and analysis of what this looks like, and have some help with a deeper level project than what we've described today, that's something that we can do for you. And so certainly reach out to us, and we're happy to have those discussions as well.
Yeah, we're doing a bunch of these, and they're fun, and we're always uncovering kind of some intuitive and some non-intuitive stuff.
Yeah.
So you could probably, find a lot of it on your own audit, but if it gets overwhelming, if it gets, you want to kind of go deeper than you've got time for, let us know. This is a lot of what we do right now.
Yep, absolutely. The marketing world continues to evolve for sure, cross-platform and all that. So, well, Dan, I think this is hopefully, as is usually the case, we want to make folks think, but also talk about solutions and opportunities for getting better. And I think we've done that in the episode here today.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully everybody else thinks so. But reach out to us, contact@bankmarketingshow.com. Go to bankmarketingshow.com, and there's forms, and you'll find that contact information there. If you have questions, you want to get a hold of us, talk more about what a analysis kind of project around this would look like. And we're here. We're happy to help. And, we always learn just from, providing some advice or answering questions. So always happy to engage.
Everyone's a little different. It is fascinating, Dan, for sure. Well, great.
And hopefully we'll see some of you all at various bank marketing conferences, bank association conferences here.
There you go. Hope to. Well, Dan, thanks. Great conversation today. Looking forward to some of the upcoming topics and episodes that we've got coming for you guys as well. And we appreciate all of you being with us today.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. To go deeper or get access to some of the valuable nuggets from today's show, go to bankmarketingshow.com. There you'll find episodes, links to resources, and much more. Be sure to subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. And join us next time.